beautiful people, welcome to another video. I'm so excited for today's video because it is jam-packed with so much fun stuff. For starters, I'm going to take you through how I meal plan for the week. Actually, it's going to be 2 weeks worth of meal planning. I'm going to grocery shop, take you to the store a little bit, and then I'm going to share with you some delicious meals that I'm making for the next 2 weeks. So let's go. When I meal plan each week, I love to have a notepad for my grocery list and, of course, my Louise Lane planner. I will link her website down below. Lauren is a really good friend of mine. She also gave me a discount code so you can all use that on her website for planners and organizers, but this meal planner is my absolute favorite. But I like to sit down and write out my meal plan for the week first of all the ideas floating in my head, and then I make my grocery list based on the items I need that I don't have on hand. So as you can see, my refrigerator was pretty empty, so I have quite a bit of a haul, and I am planning for 2 whole weeks with a $100 budget. All right, I thought I would just kind of share with you the grocery list that I started and the meal plan. I kind of work back and forth between the two, and it kind of makes sense in my mind because I have so much going on. And this meal planner, like I said, is everything to me. I think she's currently sold out of these, but check her website and use the code Miranda15 at checkout and save a little bit of money. Lauren is a really good friend of mine, and she creates the most useful, handy kitchen home products like list and stuff. So if you're a pen and paper person, check her out. So I kind of start here with my ideas and then work to a grocery list and then back and forth as need be. And I have week 1 done, so I'll share it with you, and then we'll jump over to the grocery store and the grocery haul. So I have been looking for kind of a breakfasty bar. Honestly, it's very hard to just always use the same ingredients, but I did find a zucchini pumpkin bar, and I'm gonna modify it a little bit, which reminds me I need to put egg replacement on here. Try writing while looking through a camera lens. Anyways, I need egg replacement. Someone suggested the Red Mills, so I'm going to pick a bag of that up because I do know Winco carries it. And I use it as an egg replacement because these bars call for like a half dozen eggs or something. No, that's okay. By me, I don't eat eggs. If you do, that's fine. You could do that. I'll link the recipe if I can remember. Miranda, remember to link the recipe. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll link the recipe and type out what I did to make modifications. So that way, if you guys are vegan, plant-based, you will want the modifications. And if you're not, you might want the regular recipe. But they're called zucchini pumpkin oat bars. I was just searching Pinterest and they came up because I wanted something that was oaty but without bananas for all of you that don't do bananas because of allergies, and also smoothies. I typically do 2 breakfasts throughout the week. I can flop between them, but also sometimes I have both of them in the same day. For lunch, my husband doesn't do a takeaway lunch. Like, he doesn't bring lunch with him to work. He just brings snacks. He gets that all covered from, like, that's his thing, not something that I'm like responsible for in like the meal planning anyways. But I'm going to do crispy tofu, and I'm going to make a homemade dressing, so you will see the homemade dressing here along with the salad. I'll put it together for you. So for snacks, I'm going to make an extra pan of these so Joe and I can both really enjoy them, and I'm going to get some gluten-free oats at the store. And then I just have, I love this little box, but I have this little box here where I can write out what I need to prep. The pumpkin bars, I need to prep some veggies, and maybe I'll make a homemade hummus too, because that sounds really good. Excuse my really sloppy handwriting. I don't really care what it looks like when I'm writing a list. And then I need to prep gluten-free French bread because I am making that as well. And then for the week, I like to kind of write out Sunday through Saturday. That's how my weeks run. We always try to do a date night on Saturday, so I don't usually cook it all Saturdays unless like I'm filming a what I eat in a day. Friday, super easy 10-minute recipe, orange cauliflower and rice. I have 2 nights of leftovers on here, but I will swap these as I need to based on when I get home from work. We are going to do a tomato soup and gluten-free French bread, which I will share with you in this recipe. I think that will be really good. A sweet potato chili, which honestly I plan to make like a triple batch, so this is like plenty of leftovers in case I want to take some for lunches to have with my salads, or Joe wants to have some if he's at home in the afternoon for lunch. And then I do have an IG reel recipe, so follow me on Instagram so you don't miss that. and that will be one night this week, and then I just plan to have whatever's left over on these 2 nights. We always have so many leftovers because it's just the 2 of us. And like I said, I started my grocery list over here. I kind of go based on the aisles of the store. Let me know how you guys do yours. I love Megan Fox Unlocked, and she does it by aisles in Aldi, because Aldi is like, you know, crazy. We don't have an Aldi, but I tend to do it based on when I walk in the store from right to left. So that's why tofu is like the first thing on the list, because it's the first thing that I pick up in the produce section on the right, and then I just zigzag back and forth through the aisles. I'm gonna look through oats and gluten-free flour in the bulk bins. Wish me luck. Have some canned products, and like I said, I just kind of go throughout, and then I'll put like little notes of things that I need to get for specific reasons, so I don't get to the store and be like, why do I need stir-fry veggies? Oh yeah, it's for that reel. So that will be on Instagram, and maybe I'll put it in this video. Maybe if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen it. So that is probably going up early this week. But anyways, that is how I meal prep. And this is exactly how I meal prep when it comes to creating a budget. This week's budget, I am spending $100 on 2 weeks worth of groceries. Okay, so that is how I do my meal planning and grocery list. I hope you got some really good information out of that. If not, you were just entertained. And I do the exact same thing when I'm doing an extreme grocery budget challenge. I usually just start with this list and then work onto my grocery list from there. Also, I'm working with a $100 budget today, which is like what is typical for us for 2 weeks now. And just to add, make sure whenever you go to the grocery store, restaurant, gas station, are running around, you scan your receipts into Fetch Rewards. If you don't use Fetch Rewards, you can use my link down below. And if you sign up through my link, you get 2,000 extra bonus points just for signing up when you scan your first receipt. I also get 2,000 bonus points. It's just a referral code. It's not sponsored. I personally love Fetch. I mean, you're buying the items anyway, so you might as well earn points, and then those points you can turn into gift cards, so it's like turning it into cash. It goes full circle. It's amazing. Don't miss out on all those grocery bonuses. Plus, I know this is regional depending on where you live, what you buy, but in my app this week, and I'm on the West Coast, the Barilla gluten-free pasta is an additional 1,000 points per package. That's amazing. I've never had the pasta before, so I'm gonna look for it at Winco Foods. Hopefully they have it, and then I'll snag an additional 1,000 points in the Fetch Rewards app. So let's go to the grocery store, and then I'll come back and share with you what I purchased today. I was so excited because I found gluten-free 1-for-1 flour in the bulk section for $2.54 a pound. Plus, I found gluten-free quick oats, which are my favorite, for $1.65 a pound. I feel like that's fabulous. Okay, I'm gonna do this in 2 parts because I feel like I have a lot and I'm trying to put it on my counter to share with you. So let's get into some of the produce and the freezer items so I can get these into the freezer. So you saw on my meal plan, we are going to do a cauliflower, like an orange cauliflower and rice. And I did get enough for what would be 2 meals for us. We just have a lot of rice and like 1 serving of cauliflower. It's perfect. And then this is the stir fry I got for the IG reel. It's an asparagus stir fry, so delicious. This is something I have not tried before. It's roasted corn blend, Baja roasted corn blend with roasted corn, regular corn, black beans, roasted onions, green chilies, red and green peppers. And I thought that would be so good in chili. Let me know if you've tried this before or something like it. I just thought it sounded really good. Mixed vegetables, because for whatever reason I thought mixed vegetables sounded so good. Sometimes I just like really crave these. They remind me of Thanksgiving, don't ask. Okay, so I did get the Alexa sweet potato fries. I got 5 bags. This would be enough for 5 lunches or dinners for my husband. A lot of times when he comes home from work, he will just throw a bag of this into the air fryer, and that's what he has with some barbecue sauce or ketchup. He loves them. They're super easy, and they're like $3 a bag. So when you think of like cost per meal, that's not that bad. So we get a lot of these typically a couple times a month. Cucumbers, these massive zucchinis. Oh my gosh, so big. I needed like 3 zucchinis, and I was like, well, we can always do some roast zucchinis later in the week. Spring mix for those tofu salads, and I thought I would mix it with some spinach, but spinach is also for the smoothies this week. I'll share both of those in this video just so you can see what I'm making. Sweet potatoes, I was gonna do a couple stuffed sweet potatoes and then sweet potato chili. Mushrooms, because I'm going to do a pasta with mushrooms probably the next week. I didn't show you the next week's meal plan, but maybe I'll share that recipe in this video. Onions, always an essential, and then strawberries, which aren't even in season, but they were $1.28 a pack and they smell really good. So I was like, well, those would be really good for smoothies or a snack this week. So here's round 1 of the grocery haul. I'm gonna put all this away and then share with you what else. All right, scan number 2. Sometimes when I put this all out, I'm like, that doesn't look like very much, but it's gonna be a lot of meals. Plus, I have pantry items in stock just because my refrigerator is empty. I have a lot of tomatoes and beans and stuff. So anyways, let's run through the rest of what I got here. 2 cans of whole tomatoes, 2 cans of pinto beans, 2 cans of pumpkin puree, 2 cans of kidney beans, a can of tomato paste for the tomato soup. That's what these are for. I have more tomatoes on hand for the chili. I also grabbed this, but I don't think it's gluten-free. A lot of soy products you have to be really careful of. If it's not, Joe will use this. I won't, even though it's like my favorite thing ever. It adds so much good flavor, but if it's not, Joe will use that. Also, they didn't have regular vanilla, so I got imitation. So there's that, but that's for those bars. Lots of tofu, which I will have for the next couple weeks for lunches, carrots to snack on, tomatoes for either salads or to snack on, bananas for smoothies. I'll put about a half of a banana in a smoothie, probably some strawberries, spinach. I do have a vegan protein powder that I can throw in there, and I have some frozen bananas in the freezer and some frozen blackberries I wanted to use up. I did get this egg replacement, the Rob Mills egg replacement, and it's potato starch, tapioca, baking soda, and psyllium husk. So I've never had this before, I don't think, but we're gonna try it with that. Here is the gluten-free pasta I got, the fettuccine. This is gonna be really good. I have some lentils and I can make a homemade pasta sauce with some gluten-free French bread. That sounds really good. I did get the Lily's chocolate chips to add to those bars, the zucchini bars. This is for the IG reel as well. Have you guys figured out what I'm making yet? These were actually really inexpensive. The rice noodles were like $1.82. I was super happy with that. And if I like these better than this, I will probably go with this as a pasta alternative, but we'll see. Then the find of the day, as you already saw, was the gluten-free oats, which were $1.68, I think, a pound. Really, really great price. So I did get some of those for the bars. And then 1-to-1 gluten-free all-purpose flour. I was so excited to find those at Winco, like so excited. I don't know if they'll always have them in bulk, but since they did, I grabbed some for the next couple weeks. So here's my haul. In part 2, let's jump into the zucchini oat bars. These bars were delicious. I'm just gonna scan over the ingredients really quickly. Zucchini, pumpkin, flour, maple syrup. You do want some water on hand in case it gets a little too thick. You can use regular all-purpose flour or gluten-free like I did, but I will say the egg replacement here that I mixed up completely eliminated it. It isn't necessary. I didn't use it in my second batch and actually liked it way more. Like I said, I didn't need the egg replacement. I will find some other use for it. I assumed because this recipe had so many eggs in it, I would need it, but I absolutely didn't. So you're just gonna throw everything into a large bowl, and then you're going to pop it in the refrigerator for at least an hour. It's even better if you can refrigerate it overnight. I have to be honest, I don't have that much time on my hands sometimes. So I refrigerated it for about an hour, popped it in the oven at 350 degrees in a 9x9 pan. It does call for a 9x13, but I don't have a 9x13 pan. And then you bake it for about 45 minutes. Now, because I used a smaller pan, I baked it for about an hour, but these bars are delicious. They are so good. You can also add protein powder to them, which I think the original recipe actually calls for, but I didn't add it. You could add cocoa, you could add chocolate chips, which I was going to add and then completely forgot, but these bars are definitely worth trying. It's something kind of fall-like with the squash and the pumpkin, and I think they are fabulous.
Where I've been lately.
Yeah. These bars were delicious. I think on this batch I actually added a little bit of cocoa powder because the original recipe does call for protein powder, you could do whatever you'd like, but I like chocolate and pumpkin together. I like chocolate and zucchini. This 9x9 pan I split into 8 bars, and you will see these bars are massive. They are so thick and cakey. If you want them to be less moist, you can bake them for longer. If you're okay with a little bit extra moisture, they're like a brownie. They are amazing. I hope you give them a try. Take me on Instagram when you make them because I'm excited to hear what you think. This next recipe is probably my favoriteest chili I've ever made. I really love chili, especially in the fall. I share this so often, I feel like, on my channel, but I love soups. It doesn't have to be fall for me to enjoy soup, but when it's fall, I love it. This is a seasoning lineup that I used. You can use any seasonings that you like. I try to make the most basic recipes. So this is just onion, sweet potato seasoning, some kidney beans, pinto beans, and some tomatoes, and I made this really thick. I like thinner soups with lots of broth. My husband loves thicker soups, so he won this one out. I also made some gluten-free French bread, which I'm going to share that recipe next. And I just want to share really quickly that I like to save all of my onion peels, sweet potato peels, any odds and ends that come from veggies that I can save for scraps and make my own homemade veggie broth. I think that comes in super handy for all the soups that I love to make in the fall and in the winter.
Took me down to where I've been lately. Yeah, her love can make a person hazy. Praying she won't break me down, 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 down. She makes me crazy. Never promise.
I know it bothers some of my viewers that a lot of my recipes are just kind of dump and go, but keep in mind, chili is one of those things that you can customize to your liking and add whatever you want. You can taste and go. You can add as many onions, seasonings, sweet potatoes, beans as you like. Make it as thick or as thin, and it turns out perfect every single time.
Baby, I let her do anything, let her play me. She makes me go another round, 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 round. What are you doing to me now? You found a way to me somehow. Now you're all I ever dream about.
Here is my first attempt at a gluten-free French bread. I have to be honest, it wasn't amazing, but it was good. I think because I'm so accustomed to just regular all-purpose flour that it'll take a little bit to kind of get this recipe down. I will type in the description box what I personally did and let you know that gluten-free flour is way more fickle to me than all-purpose flour. Plus, the weather this day was so off for Las Vegas. We had some humidity. We never have humidity. So the bread was just off in what I'm used to. If you've made homemade bread before, especially a yeast one, you know that sometimes you have to add a little bit extra flour or a little less flour, a little more water, a little less water, etc., because it can be a little bit fickle whether it's wet or dry. I did want this dough to be a little bit wetter because everyone has told me in the comments when making gluten-free products with flour, you want it to be more moist because it soaks up all the moisture. And this bread was like kinetic sand when I went to roll it out like my regular gluten-free bread. So it does need a little bit of tweaking with the recipe. Overall, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. It was a little bit dry on the outside once it baked in a steam bath in my oven. But when I repurposed the other half of the loaf for croutons, you'll see that recipe here in a little bit, it was fabulous. So I think it just needs a little bit of tweaking, but overall, I think it's worth a try. And I will link down below another video that I've done with some gluten-free breads for you that are superior. So make sure you check that video out as well. Like I shared with you, I was going to do baked tofu salads this week. One of the things I like to do is bake my tofu ahead of time, and then if I want it to be crunchier throughout the week, I can throw it in the air fryer for like a minute or two. Yes, I know I'm using a really tiny knife for this tofu chopping. I could not find my chef's knife, and I swear my husband sometimes hides them when he does the dishes, and I can't find them. But I baked my tofu at 475 for about 15 minutes, really well seasoned. I feel like heavy seasoning on tofu is the best when you're using it for multiple days in a row. And then I will share with you what I am like adding to my salads here in just a minute, so stay tuned. Haven't noticed by now, I like to keep my foods really simple, so I just did some take-alongs. So I have my spring mix along with my spinach mixed together, cucumber and tomatoes, and then I end up taking the entire container of strawberries so I could rinse and chop them at work. And then I also found some of these gluten-free oat packets that were left over from our trip, so I took one of these with me for lunch this day as well. But this is what I had multiple days this week. For dressing this week, I made a homemade spicy mock honey mustard, and it was so good. It's the easiest recipe ever. All you're gonna need is a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and a 1/4 cup of any kind of mustard that you'd like. I made mine spicy by using a jalapeno mustard. If you can't find that, you can definitely substitute for yellow mustard with some chopped jalapenos in it. I also added a little bit of garlic salt just for a little bit of pizzazz. So good. You just mix it up, put it in your refrigerator, and this keeps for 7 days. I saved half of the French bread loaf and repurposed it for croutons, and I think this was a fabulous idea. I just seasoned it with some Italian seasoning. Yes, it already had garlic and green goddess seasoning from Trader Joe's in it, but honestly, what are croutons without Italian seasoning? I don't use any oil or anything in this bread recipe or the croutons. I just toast them up really quick. And while I toasted these, I made a really fast tomato soup with a can of whole tomatoes and a can of pinto beans drained and rinsed. Threw those into my Vitamix, whipped them up, and then I chopped some onion and threw that with some garlic in a pot, sauteed that really quick, and then added the liquid of tomatoes and beans together, and that warms up in like 8 minutes. It's beautiful. And then the croutons were done, and this was such a delicious dinner. Beans and tomato soup, I highly recommend. If you've never tried it, you won't really taste the beans, but it adds a nice creamy element. And I feel like the pinto beans are better than white beans in my opinion, but try any bean that you would like. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're not subscribed, make sure to do so because next Thursday's video is going to be spectacular and you won't want to miss it. Make sure your notification bell is turned on so you get a notification as soon as it is posted. Have an awesome week and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.